Right now, the day's biggest news stories from a Vegas perspective. This is the Vegas Take with Sharp and Shapiro.
All right, welcome back. It is the Vegas Take. Sharp and Shapiro, so glad you could join us on what is a very sad Monday. The entire world mourning the loss of the legend himself, Kobe Bryant, his 13-year-old daughter, and 7 others dying in this horrific helicopter crash that took place yesterday around 10 a.m. And we wanted to get a player's perspective on this. So joining us on the line right now, not only is he a running Rebel legend, but he had a nice career in the NBA. He competed against Kobe Bryant, and he's nice enough to take some time to join us on the line right now. That is Marcus Banks. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
No problem. Good morning.
Appreciate you joining us under these difficult circumstances. Let me start by asking you this, Marcus, because we're around the same age. What did you make of Kobe Bryant growing up, and how did he kind of push? Was he a part of the reason why you started to play basketball? Can you talk a little bit about that? What he meant to you?
Like I said, he meant everything to my era for the simple fact of like growing up, he was our Michael Jordan. Because of course, Michael Jordan is a little older than us, and growing up watching Kobe perfect every move, even the way he walks and talks and things like that. It made him a very, very special person, especially in our era. And like I said, he was an amazing mentor to a lot of the young guys in the league. And like I said, it's just a really, really tragic and very, very sad moment, for the NBA family.
Marcus, can you take me back to that first conversation, the first time you met Kobe Bryant? How did that go down? What do you remember from that?
The first conversation we had, we were in Boston, and they came in to play us, and one of my friends, gave me a call and was like, "Hey, Kobe wants you to come down to the rack," and which the rack was like a little pool hall that they had in Boston or whatever, and he kind of rented the hall out, and it was just him in there, and then he had a couple bodyguards or whatever. And, of course, I came through there with, a friend or two or whatever. And, we played pool. And, the conversation, you would think that, we knew each other, prior to this, engagement. And, we just pretty much, he asked a lot of questions like, how I'm doing, knowing that, I'm a kid from the West Coast and stuff like that. And, how am I adapting?
Wow.
And, was the people nice to me and stuff like that?
Wow.
And then, that was like around like the first game. And then,
right.
we started kind of getting, competitive. And of course, Kobe's mentality, he trash talk and, what I'm saying, like we got into 4 or 5 games and, we just had a, unbelievable night. But that was my first experience, with
so
Kobe,
Marcus,
and it was actually away from, the basketball.
Yeah, I want to talk about that because at the time, right, you're playing for the Boston Celtics. You played for them 2003 to 2006, if I'm not mistaken. And you're telling me you're telling me the Lakers are in town, and you don't know Kobe Bryant personally, but he reaches out to you and invites you to a Boston pool hall just to play billiards. I mean, to me, that is so cool, and I think there are so many players that maybe would not have taken that step to do that. Why do you think he did that?
You know what? I'm not sure, but, like I said, like maybe it was, kind of a recruiting thing because not sure if, anyone knows or everyone knows. I actually got traded to the Lakers for Gary Payton back then. And if you know anything about the trade, it was supposed to be, myself, Chris Mim, and Chucky Atkins. Mm-hmm. Well, if you notice, Chucky Atkins and Chris Mim did play for the Lakers. Since Gary Payton then didn't show up, I think, for training camp or was late, Boston asked for me back. And then that's how I ended up going back to Boston. But I think I was traded to the Lakers for maybe like 2 weeks or so. And if you notice, like that was when they went and they won those three rings, back to back to back.
So it's fair to say we could blame the glove, Gary Payton, for the fact that you don't have several NBA championships.
I mean, man, you know what? Like I'm not that guy, but you know what I'm saying? Like I said, everything happened for a reason. And, like I said, I ended up leaving, Boston anyways, getting traded to Minnesota. And, after that, signing a 5-year deal with
You did
Phoenix
okay.
or whatever. So
You had a good career.
no,
You did all
I
right.
didn't get a chance
Yeah.
to get over to the Lakers or whatever. But,
Right.
Kobe and I had, a couple different things. I lived in L.A. for about, 14 years, while, having my NBA career. And so I was over there. So we got a chance to play in the Drew League. I'm not sure if you guys know what that is, but it's a big summer league pro-am in L.A. And actually me and Kobe, was on the same team. And that's when if you go online, you can look it up. That's when he put the list out and he put himself above, Wilt Chamberlain
Right.
and Michael Jordan at that time.
Right, I remember that.
If you look, if you look, that I was the person who, Kobe was pretty much talking to. And, that game, at that time represented so much because it was kind of like, the young guys, and then the older guys. So at the time, I think it was James Harden coming up, and him and Nick Young was playing actually, on the other team, and there was a couple pros on, our team as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think James Harden went for like 38, 39 or something like that. And, I mean, it was a show back and forth. And Kobe hit the game winner, and he went for like 42, 40-something, like 44, something like that. And he instantly, became like the man in L.A. Like, I think this is
Right.
when that time changed. Like, you remember when Kobe had the kind of stigma where he, was kind of standoffish to the people and stuff like that.
Yeah, he called himself arrogant when he was younger. He admitted to that. Yep.
So now, like, that, where that was held, like the Drew League was pretty much held, like in the inner city. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
that means a lot for, Kobe to go down and, get, have that, connection with the people down there. It was giving them a chance to watch him up close and personal, play for free. And
That's
like
incredible.
I said, like,
yeah.
it was standing room only, and
Wow.
when I tell you, he put on the show, and it was amazing.
Well, what an experience that must have been. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with NBA veteran and, of course, former star running rebel Marcus Banks, sharing some Kobe Bryant stories. Okay, Marcus, so I asked you the first conversation you recall having with Kobe Bryant, and you mentioned that pool hall story in Boston, which is incredible. Can you share with us the last conversation, the last time maybe you spent time with Kobe Bryant, or the last conversation you had with him? What was that like?
It was actually, I want to say it was, what year, what stint was that? I want to say maybe 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
And, he was in L.A. or whatnot. And I was actually over there working out for the Lakers. And, I was spending a lot of time, with Derek Fisher. We were working out in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
like 6 a.m. And, of course, he had passed through the gym and, peep his head in there, and, he'd just say, keep working or whatever. But, like, that was, like the last conversation kind of, like, passing along.
Mm-hmm.
But, of course, just seeing them, from time to time,
Mm-hmm.
just saying what's up. But, like, that was probably the last real-life conversation that I've had with Kobe.
So we hear from a lot of different players about his trash talking and his competitive spirit, and you probably wouldn't find somebody more competitive than Kobe Bryant. Can you share with us like an in-game situation where you say to yourself, that was Kobe Bryant? I mean, you competed against this guy, right? So can you share with us maybe a story, whether it was a regular season game or something, where you say to yourself, this is what Kobe Bryant was like on the basketball court? I mean, we all see it, but we don't always hear it. You were playing against this guy. What can you share with us?
You know what, Kobe, he was just, just the ultimate, competitor. Like every single play, it didn't matter if it was a rebound, he was going to go give you his all. It didn't matter if it was a loose ball. He wanted to be the one to come up with it. If it was a big shot, he wanted to be the guy, to make the shot. So, of course, Boston and, the Lakers have, big-time rivalry history. And, of course, him and Paul Pierce always went at it. And like I say, I got a front row seat, man, at times. And I caught myself, being a more of a fan on the court because of, I'm up close and personal and being able to watch and listen to the trash talk between, him and Paul Pierce. Like when I tell you these guys were to the point where, they can tell you what they're going to do and it's nothing you can do to stop it. So, once you get into that zone, and I'm sure you guys heard stories of Michael Jordan getting into the zone or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Yep.
Now, I don't know. Like, I think these guys are getting into that zone a little bit quicker, and they're starting to have a better understanding. But like I said, man, Kobe and Paul, they went at it. When I tell you the trash talk, it got unbelievable.
So can you give me an example? Like, I obviously it has to be PG-13, sadly. But because
only thing I could tell you, man, like I said, I'll keep it as neutral as, these guys are super professionals, and anything they tell you that they can do, they're going to do it. There's nothing that you can do to stop it. And, it's some tough words that's said in there, I mean, it's just, like if you block a shot, you know what I'm saying? Like when I tell you, you get a shot blocked, pinned on the glass or something like that. And,
right.
You get Kobe, he will give you, he's giving you a couple words on the way back down. And then he would pretty much tell you, now you got to come and guard me. And I'm going to turn my back, I'm going to turn and fade baseline. And it's nothing you can do. And you're sitting right there like, to yourself, like, I cannot believe what I'm witnessing.
Yeah,
so,
there's only
it was amazing.
And there's only a couple people that I think that did stuff like that. Kobe being one of them. I think Larry Bird would be another. Obviously, Michael Jordan. But there's only handful of guys that you could say.
I would say KD did that. Too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a handful of guys, but I don't think Durant has ever been labeled a trash talker like some of those guys that I just mentioned. Again, if you're just
you'll be surprised.
Really?
I mean, like, oh my gosh, yeah, you'll be definitely surprised with 18,000 people yelling all at once. I mean, those guys being right there on the court, like, man, it's a lot of things that's said. That's why it's so much tension, throughout those games, and
sure.
and it's so much scoring because it's so competitive now.
I mean, Brian, we watched Durant in Summer League last year just destroy All-Stars in the one-on-one competition, and he was talking trash the entire time.
That wasn't Summer League. That was USA Basketball.
I'm sorry, USA Basketball.
Kevin Durant hasn't been in Summer League in a very long time. That's okay.
Absolutely, but, like, you got to understand, that's where guys get their names. Like, that's where you get your ranking of who you are when you play ones and one-on-one. Because,
sure.
Like I said, like, we do that still to this day, and, we're doing like, okay, well, you got 3 dribbles to get to your shot.
Sure.
Well, that means you're extremely skilled if you can get whatever shot you want at any time just off 2 or 3 dribbles.
Yeah.
And, like I said, those guys are professionals, and that's what they do.
I'm just curious.
For breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I'm just curious, Marcus, when you say you spoke to Kobe Bryant that first night and you guys were at a billiard hall, was he talking trash to you while playing pool?
Oh, of course. I mean, pool is a game of trash talk, man. Like, I mean, you gotta. Okay, I mean, we're playing for push-ups and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, yeah, it got really, really competitive. I mean, off the glass, like, oh, my last name is Banks. You can't shoot off the glass like that.
I like that.
So it was just like a lot of stuff going back and forth, and like he's just, oh, come on, young fella, come on, Rook, and this and this and that. And so, of course, me, I'm from that era as well, and I find myself here competing and talking trash back to Kobe Bryant, and didn't even understand what I was doing at the time.
Did you win? Did you beat him in pool?
You know what? I got him a couple games, and the crazy thing is that was really like my introduction to pool, because you got to think when I got drafted, I was 19 and a half or so. Like, where would I play pool at? If you're living in Las Vegas, if you're not 21, you're nothing. You know what I mean?
That's true.
At the end of the day, I was fresh out of college, and like, I went there, like, he introduced me to a game where, you understand, like, you can do more than just, shoot the ball in the hole. Like, you can have a conversation.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because pool is a game of patience as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as well, like, I don't know if he was teaching me, like, take your time, when you pick and choose your shots, because, pool is a game of, positioning. And just because you see this shot, you got to position yourself very well for the next 3 shots in order to win the game. I picked that up at a young age, and, I became, I love pool to this day. So that was a good, situation.
Would you say that Kobe Bryant is the best Laker of all time and the best 2-guard of all time?
Yes, I would say that. Reason being, I mean, of course, you would get a lot of, flack with, Michael Jordan, but, I would say, first, like, Michael Jordan was the first that we seen, doing the things that he was doing. Well, the game evolved, and, Kobe perfected everything that Michael, pretty much was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, you look at percentages and things like that, and, it kind of favored Kobe's, and this era. So like I said, I grew up, watching Kobe, firsthand. Even at halftime in games, you can find yourself, looking at the Lakers like, let me see what Kobe has at halftime, because he was that kind of inspiring guy. But, for our era, for sure, a lot of guys would say, Kobe, but then the will to win of the guy that showed Kobe the way would be Michael Jordan. So, I mean, it's apples to oranges. And, like I said, both of those guys are amazing. So, I mean, you can't take anything from them.
And see, Brian, he would actually push back on you with that because he thinks that Jordan played against, in a tougher era where the players were playing a harder brand of basketball, whereas I think that Kobe played against better athletes. Where would you go with that, Marcus?
You know what? Like I said, I will probably get, a lot of flack for this, but, I think the kids today are way more skilled than us. Like, think about it. Like, I mean, you have big man now that shoots the ball from 25, 30 feet. When, back then you were barely getting them to catch and hold on to the ball. I mean, you're getting 7-footers with a ball handling skills of a 6-foot guard. So, yes, the game has definitely evolved. I think these kids are trained better. Like me, I can look back, just speaking of myself, I didn't have a trainer growing up. Like, do you understand?
Sure.
I got to where I got to by just going to parks and playgrounds. And my will to win and just competing against the other guys and playing against older kids is what helped me get there. But
yeah, that's
as
a good
far
point.
as training, do you understand?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
They have nutrition and they
Sure.
have nutrition and the way to recover and the proper, it's more basketball. You don't even have to play on your high school team to go to college anymore.
You're right, and you make a good point with nutrition and trainers and all the people that are around these kids starting at an extremely young age. You didn't have that benefit. That makes me respect players like you more. That's just my personal opinion. But let's move on now, Marcus, to outside the game of basketball. As somebody who played in the league for a long time, basketball has been your life. But let's talk about outside of the basketball, or we can talk about what Kobe's done for women in the WNBA. But I got to tell you something. We see a lot of legends sadly lose their life, maybe not this young, obviously, but I'm not sure it's having the reaction that I'll just speak for myself. I was extremely emotional last night. I see these images of Kobe with his 13-year-old daughter at the Lakers game the night before he passes away. I saw Kobe and his daughter a couple months ago at a Las Vegas Aces game. I just see what a good father he was and husband and the family man that was Kobe Bryant. That's what hurts me more than anything. It's not that we lost a legend, but we lost a father, a husband. And like I said, I was sad when Prince died. I was sad when Michael Jackson died. We see these legends that pass away. I think it's just the circumstances here that got me. Do you feel the same way?
Absolutely. Like I said, for us, Kobe was just so young. And I think we're selfish because we look at it the way of, him being a basketball player. And you got to think he gave half of his life to basketball, so that's all we know him of. Mm-hmm. He didn't even get a chance to live out his life. It was just starting. And if you think about it, like I said, he has a brand new baby. He has, other kids and stuff like that. He left a wife. Like, think about it. They had so much to look forward to. Mm. And like I said, like, no one knows when your time is going to be. And you just got to live your life, man, the best you can while you're here, and make sure you guys tell the people that you love, that you're close to, as much as possible that you love them, because, like I said, you never know when your time is going to be.
So, question about Las Vegas. I heard through a grapevine that you might be actively involved in bringing an NBA team to Vegas. Is that true, and what are we looking at for a timeline?
You know what? I can't answer that, right now. But like I said, I would love to see, in the future, an NBA team, here in Las Vegas, and would love to be, a part of it. Like also I'm, building my MB3 Academy, and it's powered by Human Performance. And like I said, it's a lot of great things that I'm going to be doing in the city that's up and running right now, that's moving around, and I'm trying to make myself more visible in the community.
Yeah.
And, like I say, more reachable to, the kids and, the parents, because like I said, I want to, do some great things here. I'm back home.
And you have.
Stuff like that.
You already have done some great things, and we're very lucky to have you back here in Las Vegas. And let me just be the first one to say, if you ever need to promote anything or anything that you got going on, we would love to have you back on, Marcus. It's great to see you back at UNLV games, watching those games. I know you've always supported that program, and you do a great job with that. And we're happy to have you back here in Las Vegas, and love to have you on again sometime. Thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing these Kobe Bryant stories. We really do appreciate you.
Anytime. And if you guys need me to come on any sports show, please don't be afraid to reach out. Like
Great.
I said, I want to do more in the community. We got to get UNLV back up and running.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we got to, we got a CCSN too now, going to be up and running the junior college. So, Vegas is going to be, a nice little basketball place and sports town. So, hey, we here, let's support each other, and, let's have a good time.
Yeah, maybe we could get you in studio March Madness. That'd be a lot of fun, Marcus, if we can make that happen.
Sure.
Great.
Let me know.
Marcus, you're a class act, my friend. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, there you go.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
Former Runnin' Rebel, NBA player Marcus Banks. God, I'm just listening to, and by the way, that video of Kobe Bryant hitting that game-winning shot against Harden, we put that on our Twitter page. I want to go back to that story real quick, and I didn't know that story, by the way, that Marcus Banks just shared with us. He's playing for the Boston Celtics. He's 19 years old. I think he was 19 or 20, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he said 19 and a half.
Yeah, and he's playing for the Boston Celtics, and the Lakers are in town. This is a young kid. Kobe Bryant reaches out to him, I believe, the night before the game, and says, meet me at this pool hall. Now, why would Kobe Bryant do that? Well, I think there's probably several reasons, and Marcus explained. Number one, maybe he was trying to recruit him to the Lakers, and it almost worked. But number two, he made a very profound statement. I don't want to get too deep into it, but Marcus talked about it. Look, he's introducing me to the game of pool. It's about positioning. It's about being patient. It's about hitting a shot, but it's not about that shot. It's about the next shot.
Chess.
Yeah. And that's the way Kobe Bryant lived his life, right? Kobe Bryant lived his life for the future, not just for the now, but for the future. He put himself in position to win. He, as a father, as a husband, and as a basketball player. And here he is reaching out to this 19-year-old kid named Marcus Banks. He knew he was extremely talented.
And yeah, keep in mind, Kobe's 41 and Marcus is 38. So Kobe was only 22.
But it's a very mature thing to do.
He wasn't 30, 32.
But it's still a very mature thing to do, where he's not only trying to maybe recruit a young guy to the Lakers, but developing relationships with some of these young guys. To me, that's the kind of person that Kobe Bryant was, and he showed his maturity at such a young age.
And I think he was so smart too. I mean, the guy there was a video of him at a Lakers Mavericks game a couple weeks ago. Yeah. He's speaking in Slovenian to Luka Doncic.
That's a cool moment.
He speaks 3 languages fluently.
Yeah.
He won an Academy Award. He was involved in a venture capitalist firm that purchased media companies. We could have had a conversation with this guy at some point, if this didn't happen.
Well,
to
the times
he was so successful in so many different ways, and honestly, I would not be shocked if he wasn't gearing himself up to possibly run for political office at some point, considering how big his reach was and what he was trying to do and what he was able to accomplish whenever he actually put his mind to something. I mean, that's what makes this so disgusting, along with the fact that his daughter literally could have put the now granted this would be 5 or we'll call it 7 years away, but she could have put the WNBA on the international map. I mean, she was that good. If you watch some of her film, unbelievable athlete for being 13. I think she was like 5 foot 10 inches tall.
Well, so
many things were just taken away from the world.
Well, I mean,
during this crash.
Yeah, I mean, and it's more, and you're right, but it's more than just basketball and what Kobe would have done for the WNBA and his daughter. It's about losing the life of somebody that was, you're right, extremely intelligent. Did all the right things, and he committed adultery and he made a mistake. But for anybody that wants to harp on that, I don't care if it's somebody on this station or if it's somebody on another station, whoever you are. If you want to harp on the fact that Kobe Bryant, was acquitted, by the way, charges were dropped of rape, and that he committed adultery, and you want to harp on that on a day like today, you have serious mental problems. You have issues in your own life.
It wasn't so much the adultery as it was the fact that he was accused of something much beyond
and not convicted.
that.
And not convicted.
I agree. He was not convicted.
Yeah,
there was a settlement involved.
Yeah, and it is the last thing you should be talking about on a day like today. The last thing you should be talking about. And like I said, if you want to talk about that stuff and that case that went on 17 years ago, then there's something mentally wrong with you as a human being. There's something wrong with you. We should be remembering Kobe. We should be remembering his family, and we should be remembering his poor 13-year-old daughter that lost her life way too soon. So we got to take a break. And when we come back, Jamison Welsh from Drive Time Sports. We got into this a little bit with Marcus Banks. What does it mean for basketball? But Jamison is going to kind of dig a little bit deeper. And I hate to bring this up, but I will. I mean, does it give LeBron James and the Lakers even more will to win in the name of Kobe Bryant? I think we're going to talk about that because I think it does. Jamison's coming up next. This is the Vegas Take, 101.5 FM, 720 AM KW.